All right, welcome back to the channel. We've got big fights coming up on March 30th. And one of the most interesting characters in boxing has something to say about another fight with interesting characters going on. Rolly Romero gives his 2 cents about Gervonta Davis, also Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, and why that fight should not be taking place. And again, I know Ryan Garcia is out here trying to rebuild that image, out here training and showing videotapes. I'm with Rolly Romero. I don't believe this fight should be taking place. However, let's talk about what Rolly had to say in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're going to be talking about what one of the most disrespected champions in all of boxing has to say. Number one, about his upcoming fight, which will be taking place 11 days from now. And that is Rolly Romero, who will be fighting Isaac Cruz for the WBA super title at 140 pounds. He chimes in on Gervonta Davis and some claims Devin Haney has made around Gervonta Davis, and also this Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney debacle of a fight, which should be stopped from everything that I can see. But the closer we get to it, the less likely it is that it will. We are now 4 weeks out from that fight. Before I get into the details, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you can know when we release videos. And thank you to everybody that is a loyal and consistent supporter to the channel, that has a positive conversations in the comments section. Whether you agree with me or you don't agree with me, I don't get funky with people unless people get funky with me. But if you get funky with me, large probability that I'm going to get funky with you, or I'm just going to delete your comment and you're going to wonder where it went. Because, hey, man, who likes having people always nagging at them? Do you? I don't, but I love the comments. So please leave a comment in the comment section. And if I read it, we can get to it. We can chop it up. Also, you can always message me on Instagram, or message me on the DMs on Twitter or X, whatever you phrase it. I talk with boxing fans all the time. I'm just a boxing fan myself. So if you ever want to talk boxing with somebody, hit me up. More than likely, I'm going to be able to respond. But let's get to this, because there's a really good card coming up on March 30th, the PBC's first fight card on Amazon Prime. You have a very good matchup at the top of the card, which is Sebastian Fundora and Tim Tszyu. It was Keith Thurman and Tim Tszyu, but Keith Thurman had a arm injury. So Sebastian Fundora moved from one of the fights where he was going to fight for the WBC, the vacant WBC title, and he moves up to 154 pounds. He moves over to fight Tim Tszyu, and they're both now going to fight for both the WBC and the WBO belt, both of them which were held by Jermell Charlo, who dropped those belts or had those belts stripped from him when he went up and he fought Canelo Alvarez, and he has spent an amount of time inactive in that division. But the next best fight, again, is Rolly Romero and Isaac Cruz, which I think is going to be a very, very good fight. And I think it's a very interesting fight because Isaac Cruz is a very underrated and underrespected fighter, and Rolly Romero can punch. That's about as far as I'm going to go out there with Rolly as far as what he's doing in the ring. People didn't like how he won the fight against Ismael Barrosa, because Ismael Barrosa was, seemingly putting some hands on Rolly. Then Rolly connected with him and threw a bunch of punches that it didn't even seem like really landed. And I believe Tony Weeks was the ref. And so Tony Weeks jumps in there and stopped it. Nobody really liked that decision. But at the end of the day, Rolly becomes the champion. And now he's fighting Isaac Cruz. That fight, I do believe, can go either way. I believe that the way that Isaac Cruz fights, Isaac Cruz is going to be vulnerable to get hit by Rolly, and because he's going to be coming at Rolly. And Isaac Cruz, even though he's got good defense on the inside, I do believe that he's defensively responsible, especially in the fight that I saw him with Gervonta Davis. He was very defensively responsible. He was prepared very well for that fight. I still think he's there to get hit by Rolly. The question is whether or not Rolly's going to be able to dent that big old head on that man. But whatever the case is, love the fight. Can't wait to see it. Wish Isaac Cruz spoke English so that we could have got a little bit more banter in the lead into it, because Rolly is always a lot of comedy. Anyway, very, very good fight. But he gives his take on some things that Devin Haney's been saying in the Devin Haney-Ryan Garcia fight. First of all, he adds some sanity to the conversation about who the face of boxing is. If you take Canelo Alvarez out of it, the biggest name in boxing right now is definitely Gervonta Davis, despite the fact that Devin Haney, some way, for some crazy reason, decided to start claiming it was him. God dog, like straight up just kidnapping that man, Gervonta Davis's claim without having proved it at all. So obviously, Romero is going to be like, man, Devin is just on something. Gervonta Davis is the face of boxing. I personally think, maybe it's Canelo, but whatever the case is, Canelo, Gervonta, I'm going to tell you who it isn't. It ain't Isaac Cruz. It ain't Vasily Lomachenko. It is not Teofimo Lopez. It ain't Devin Haney. It ain't none of these other dudes that are talking about it. And to claim that, to me, is just disingenuous. And it makes a mockery of the term. But what's new when it comes to the Devin Haney world, because they've made a mockery of a bunch of terms like ducking. Everybody's ducking. Whatever the case is, though, Rolly Romero dismisses that. And then he proceeds to talk about the actual fight with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney and says that they shouldn't be having that fight. I don't think anything else is more obvious than that they shouldn't be having that fight, considering all the ups and downs and the craziness going on with Ryan Garcia. That does not look to me or many people at all like Ryan Garcia is playing. Ryan Garcia looks like he is not focused. Ryan Garcia looks like he's got the ultimate case of, the Buster Douglas syndrome. If you're not familiar with the Buster Douglas syndrome, the Buster Douglas syndrome is where a fighter gets a really, really, really big payday. And because he gets a really big payday, he's no longer hungry and he's not training right. He's not doing the things that he needs to do. And as a result, his performance wanes. His weight starts going up. All of those things start happening. Well, if you add to that, inhaling a lot of, WEED and alcohol, you can put yourself in a state where you really and truly should not be fighting in that boxing ring. And it also makes it a non-competitive fight because you have a guy that's half in it and a guy that's all the way in it. You got a guy half in it and a guy all the way in it. It becomes a mockery. So on the real, I would rather see Devin Haney fight Arnold Barboza or have somebody else jump in there for that fight with Ryan Garcia. The whole thing just doesn't look like it should be taking place. So I agree with Rolly Romero on that. What do you think is going to actually happen? No, they're going to move forward with this fight. Devin Haney is going to win this fight against a guy that looks half prepared. Mind is half in it. And then they're going to claim that they did 50 million pay-per-views and they did a $90 million gate, and he's the face of boxing. And we know how that's going to play out, but it is what it is. We'll move on to the next after that. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.